November 30th, 2013. A charity toy drive winds down in Santa Clarita. Paul Walker steps into the passenger seat of a Porsche Carrera GT. Roger Rodas takes the wheel. Within minutes, both men are dead. Investigators would document impact speeds nearly double the posted 45 miles per hour limit, and a 62-foot yaw mark burned into the road surface. But what the crash reconstruction pieced together challenges much of what the public assumed. The late afternoon at Always Evolving had the quiet energy of a community coming together for a cause. Inside the shop, boxes of toys lined the walls, donations for Reach Out Worldwide, the disaster relief charity Paul Walker had founded after witnessing the devastation of the 2010 Haiti earthquake. This event was organized to help survivors of Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, drawing car enthusiasts and volunteers alongside families dropping off gifts. Paul Walker moved through the crowd not as a celebrity, but as the face of the organization, shaking hands and thanking donors. Roger Rodas, a professional race car driver and longtime friend, was there not only as a co-owner of the performance shop, but as a trusted partner in the charity's work. As the gathering wound down, Rodas suggested taking his red 2005 Porsche Carrera GT out for a short drive, a routine test of a car he knew well. Walker agreed, stepping into the passenger seat. The car rolled out from the curb, leaving behind the hum of conversation and the last of the volunteers packing up. No cameras followed, no crowd gathered at the street. The drive began with the intention of returning in minutes, a brief departure from the day's charity work. These final moments were defined by purpose and friendship, not spectacle, a fact that stands in contrast to the public myths that would later swirl around the tragedy. The investigation centered on a machine built for the edge of possibility, a 2005 Porsche Carrera GT. This was not a typical sports car. Its mid-engine, rear-wheel drive layout placed the bulk of its 612 horsepower V10 engine behind the seats, creating a weight balance that demanded expert control. Unlike most modern supercars, the Carrera GT lacked electronic stability control. There was nothing to intervene if the rear wheels lost grip. No system could correct a slide once it began. The drive took place on Hercules Street and Rye Canyon Loop, a stretch of asphalt winding through an industrial park in Santa Clarita. The posted speed limit was 45 miles per hour. The road itself was wide and empty, lined by low-rise warehouses and scattered trees, an unremarkable setting that would become the focus of a meticulous forensic process. Investigators from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the California Highway Patrol's multidisciplinary accident investigation team approached the crash site as a complex puzzle. They mapped the scene with high-resolution laser surveys, capturing the exact positions of the curb, the light pole, and the trees struck in the collision. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses provided time-coded visual evidence, while onboard telemetry data from the Porsche detailed engine speed and throttle input in the moments before impact. Specialized reconstruction software, PC Crash 11.0, was used to model the car's dynamics at every stage, accounting for mass, center of gravity, and the absence of electronic aids. The analysis produced a clear speed estimate. At the moment of impact, the Carrera GT was traveling between 80 and just under 94 miles per hour. This range did not rely on guesswork or witness memory. It was built from tire mark geometry, video frame alignment, and the physics of a car designed without margin for error. The evidence pointed to a single factor: speed far beyond what the road and the car's own safety systems could handle. The Porsche Carrera GT entered the sweeping right-hand curve on Hercules Street, its trajectory forever recorded by the physical evidence left behind. Investigators traced the car's path through a single, unbroken yaw mark, 62 feet of darkened rubber arcing across the asphalt. This was no straight line run. The length and geometry of the mark pointed to a sudden steering correction, a maneuver that forced the rear of the car to break loose and slide sideways. For a machine with a rear-biased weight distribution and no electronic stability control, this abrupt input proved catastrophic. As the car rotated, the rear tires lost grip, leaving a broad, scuffed trace that experts identified as a classic oversteer event. The yaw mark's depth and radius matched precisely with what reconstruction software and on-site laser surveys predicted for a vehicle exceeding safe cornering speeds. The car's momentum carried it laterally, not forward, resulting in a sideways approach to the curb. The left front wheel struck the opposite curb with tremendous force, a blow that redirected the car toward the series of fixed objects lining the roadside. First came the power pole. The impact sheared the pole from its base, scattering debris and instantly halting much of the car's forward progress. But inertia carried the vehicle onward, spinning it nearly 180 degrees before it collided with two trees in rapid succession, first on the driver's side, then on the passenger side. Each collision left deep gouges and splintered bark, evidence of the violence unleashed in those final seconds. Witnesses described hearing a single car approaching at high speed, followed by the sound of impact and silence. No one reported another vehicle. The scene evidence, from tire marks to resting positions, confirmed the absence of a street race or outside interference. The path traced on the pavement and through the roadside objects told a clear story: loss of control, a rapid sequence of impacts, and a tragedy set in motion by a single, irreversible mistake. Within seconds of the final impact, a wall of fire erupted from the Porsche's midsection. The force of the collision had ruptured the fuel system, sending gasoline into contact with hot engine components. Flames rose rapidly, reaching heights of 15 to 20 feet, according to bystanders who ran toward the wreck with handheld extinguishers. The air filled with heat and smoke so intense that even experienced volunteers could not get close enough to attempt a rescue. The cabin, already crushed by the sequence of impacts, left no practical window for escape. Doors were jammed, the passenger cell deformed nearly beyond recognition. Burn patterns documented by investigators traced the fire's origin to the area just behind the seats, evidence of a breached fuel line or tank consistent with the Carrera GT's design. By the time the first fire engine arrived, just 7 minutes after the 911 call, the vehicle was already overwhelmed. Firefighters reported that the blaze was too large to control, and both occupants were found in positions confirming they had not been moved. The physical evidence left no doubt. The combination of catastrophic structural damage and near instantaneous fire eliminated any chance of intervention. The crash energy, measured in the twisted frame and melted composites, set strict limits on what could have been done in those final moments. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office provided the final word on what happened inside the wrecked Porsche. For Paul Walker, the official cause of death was listed as combined traumatic and thermal injuries. The report detailed fractures to his jaw, collarbone, pelvis, and spine, evidence of the violent forces unleashed in the crash. Soot found in his trachea confirmed that he was still breathing for a brief period after the impact, inhaling smoke as the fire spread through the cabin. Toxicology tests were negative for both alcohol and drugs, eliminating impairment as a factor for either man. Roger Rodas died from multiple blunt force injuries, with the autopsy describing skull, jaw, rib, and pelvic fractures severe enough to bring instantaneous loss of life. Both men were found with seatbelts fastened, and investigators confirmed that the airbags had deployed as designed. The medical findings drew a clear line. Rodas was killed by trauma at the moment of impact, while Walker's death resulted from a combination of injury and the rapid onset of fire. These details, recorded by the coroner, Replace speculation with fact, separating rumor from the reality of two lives ended by a single catastrophic event. The official investigation left no room for doubt about the cause. Excessive speed on a public road. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the California Highway Patrol's accident team determined that the Porsche was traveling far above what the curve and surface could safely allow. Experts studying the Carrera GT pointed to its reputation for razor-sharp handling at the limit, unforgiving of abrupt steering, especially at high speed. Unlike most modern performance cars, this model lacked electronic stability control, a feature now standard that can correct a slide before it becomes a spin. Safety analysts reviewing the crash noted that lower speeds, particularly on public streets, would have kept the car within its handling envelope. Some pointed to the importance of reserving such high-performance driving for closed courses, not industrial park loops. Others stressed the need for tire maintenance and modern fuel system protection, both of which could have reduced the risk of fire after impact. The exhaustive review also addressed the rumors that swirled in the aftermath. There was no evidence of a second car, street racing, or mechanical failure. The facts, drawn from physical evidence and technical analysis, narrowed the tragedy to a single preventable factor: unsafe speed in a car that offered no margin for error. Forensic evidence leaves no room for legend. It leaves only hard limits and irreversible choices. Today, high-performance vehicles still outpace human caution, and the margin for error remains razor-thin. The facts endure long after speculation fades. In the end, truth is what survives the wreckage. Share your thoughts below.